Love it.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. And now, please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks!
Let's light this candle, Brian. Well, where did the applause go? It's like we ushered.
I don't know. I was trying to do too many buttons at once.
They went silent. Oh, there they are. They're back.
And they just fell asleep for a second.
They're back in the room. I have a tendency to do that to people. Welcome to Silicon
They were
Valley
just
Impact.
like, they were all just sitting there with their jaws agape, right? Like just watching me.
What's happening now?
Magic.
I love it.
They just flipped a switch, and what's happening now?
Yeah.
So, I'm your host, Brian Sparks. The purpose of the show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own.
Nice.
Swing and miss, Brian. I needed you on that one. All right.
Well, because you did this. Like, you pointed at me, and I was like, what's he pointing at me for now? Why is he pointing at me?
Oh, okay. All right. That was the...
Yeah. Usually we've been kind of subtle. We don't look at each other.
That was the red light, laser beam on the light. You chased it. All right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like way too much focus and attention on my participation.
All right.
Yeah, but I should get a trophy regardless.
You do.
Yeah, thank you.
You get the...
Hey, I want to point out, Adelina, can we see you back there for just real quick?
There she is.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
She's helping us get the YouTube thing worked out finally, so we're going to have that worked out in no time flat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. A lot of people
It's been
are
a long
asking
time coming
about the YouTube channel. We will have all the shows up there for you to view. We're also on Apple and Spotify, so check us out on all those channels. Brian, we are in the midst of our Opal release. We were in Opal last month and had a chance to talk to some amazing people.
Totally.
Those who are local are going to be coming back into the studio and continuing the conversation. So excited about that. So last week, the episode 1 dropped. You can check that out on Apple and Spotify. And in August, show 2 and 3 will be dropping. And again, thanks to the Opal group and David Lieberwitz for bringing us out to Opal. That's exciting, and we're looking forward to doing more shows with them.
Just want to say that the Opal event in San Francisco, first of all, was an amazing experience, but also and maybe everybody knows this, but focused on AI, right?
Yeah.
Like it was specifically an AI-focused event.
Yeah, it was really good, and we talked to some great people. And keeping with that tradition, we have some great people in the studio today, and I'm excited to introduce them. So in the spirit of Silicon Valley, Aytakin, I'm going to start with you. Thanks for coming in. We also have Iryna and Randy, but Aytakin, give a little introduction about what you're working on. And by the way, for again, talking about the YouTube, go check out this episode because you came in dressed like a rock star. Look at you. I mean, we're matching, but I mean, not in terms of elegance, that's for sure.
Colors.
I mean, you look elegant for like the soccer pitch, Brian.
Yeah. It's contrast. That's showbiz. You always got to have contrast. I mean, right, Iryna? I mean, when you're telling a story in your magazine, you got to have contrast.
I'll write a review on your outfit in my magazine.
On my attire, yeah.
Wow. I can't wait to read that, actually.
All right, so Aytakin, go ahead and give a little introduction about what you're working on.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I have been following you for a while. I love your podcast. I used to be here as a host. Now I am a guest, so it's a different experience. My name is Aytakin, and I lead the community of Femigrants, Femigrants Foundation, that stands for Female Immigrants. At Femigrants, I host elegant events to bring together a community of immigrant women and men coming from diverse backgrounds, ethnicities, and experiences. Besides that, I also help immigrant founders and entrepreneurs with personal branding and social media influence. I recently joined Forbes Nonprofit Council. So anybody who is looking for opportunity to increase their influence online or in person, or to take their company to the next level, I am here to support any immigrant woman.
I love that. And we're going to unpack that a little bit more because I got to admit, and I think Brian will back me up, not to put words in his mouth, but he'll back me up on this one. Some of the best stories of founders and investors are immigrants because they have that resilience of, immigrating into the U.S., finding their way, building their community, which you've also done really, really well.
Extremely well.
Extremely well. And so we'll do a deeper dive into that, but really excited about what you're working on and very well needed and very well attended, by the way. I see you all over LinkedIn crushing it. So
Thank you. Not that easy. I used to work at the corporations before, different like NVIDIA, Instagram, HTC Vive. But for the last 1 year, I am fully focused on Femigrants Foundation only.
yeah.
Maybe I will deep dive later, but when I started, it was so hard. I had 2 infant kids. I was working full time and launching Femigrants.
Wow.
Like sleeping probably only 3-4 hours just to be able to
Execute
take
on
Femigrants
this. Yeah,
to
yeah.
the next
We'll
level.
definitely
Yeah.
talk about that. But let's bring in our rest of our guests because we'll just bounce off each other. That's what we do it in the spirit of Silicon Valley Impact. But Iryna, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Yes, and I love the name Femigrants.
Thank you.
It's so cool. Well, yeah, a little bit about me. I am editor-in-chief of Red Hot Monde magazine. I'm also raising my Fund 1, MachX VC fund. And I'm also a co-executive producer of a reality TV show called Silicon Valley Stilettos about
Ooh.
5
Nice.
entrepreneurial women based here in Silicon Valley. And by the way, the initial idea was to call it Silicon Valley Fumpreneurs.
Oh, okay.
Fun.
Fumpreneurs, so kind of
Okay.
femigrants,
Femigrants, yeah.
fumpreneurs. So thinking alike.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have also experience. I mean, you're raising your first fund. You're becoming a VC. So we're going to talk about that process. But you have investment experience up to this point as an angel as well.
Yes, that is correct. So my family, we have been doing some investments, just like tracking some companies for years, making decisions for ourselves just as a good investment. And I actually decided to educate myself and recently entered the Venture University because I believe, here in Silicon Valley, there are so many venture capitalists that go out there and, teach us what to do and how to do it, but they have never really been educated in that regard.
Yeah.
So I decided to be the educated one.
Nice.
And I entered the Venture University, which has the highest acceptance rate. It's like they accept 0.1% of students that apply.
A low acceptance rate. Like it was tough to get in.
It's called low acceptance rate. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations. And so what will you be focusing on? What has been, and again, not to do the deep dive yet, but what is kind of your wheelhouse? Is it going to stay in retail or what
Actually not. So my interest is mostly in the frontier tech. So space, biotech, materials, stuff like that.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we're going to get into that. And we'll also, for our audience who's listening, we have a lot of startups, people who are raising on that end. So I'm sure they're going to want to know what you're thinking.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we'll equip
Would love
them.
to connect. Yes.
We'll equip them with that insight and also get you connected. But Randy, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We can officially say, as we were talking before the show, that you're now a second-time guest.
Yes, sir.
You were back on the show when it used to be called Silicon Valley Influence.
Oh, yeah.
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 When
It was a Zoom thing.
It was a Zoom thing.
Yeah, I got grilled by investors. That was so fun, Brian.
We aim to please. Yeah, we aim to please.
Well, I'm honored to be here with these amazing ladies. I'm just this middle-aged white guy in Silicon Valley. I feel like I need to step it up. I am sort of an immigrant, though. I'm from Canada. So you've got 3 immigrants here. My mom was U.S., so I get to be a U.S. citizen. But I'm a kind of crazy serial entrepreneur. I'm working on my 5th startup. I did something people might have heard of called Swipe, where you slide your finger to enter text way back in the day. That was invented to help people with disabilities originally, and then spun that out. I did another company that Apple bought, and I ended up going to Apple with that acquisition and worked there for 8 years, and then left to do my latest startup called Skidattl, which is a totally cool new spatial computing company that uses augmented reality for really practical purposes. We set virtual signs out in the real world in geographic locations. You can customize them. Anybody can make these. It's just a really great practical use of augmented reality.
And I love it. So, and real quick, the concept, when you and I first talked a few years back, is really when you're out about the town, finding out through these beacons, right?
Yeah.
Where there are deals, there's opportunities from a retail perspective or entertainment perspective. And I love this idea in the sense of community engagement, because in real time, you can find out what you want just by looking at the map, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I want to just
You want to chime in? Let it rip,
beacons,
Brian.
physical beacons? Are these beacons actual beacons that
No,
Go ahead.
We call them beacons. They're software. They're just virtual signs.
they're just virtual pins on a map that show up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only you look at them through your phone, and so you're looking through the camera view of your phone at the real world, and it superimposes these signs in the real world. So we have like a billboard. It could be a billboard over top of this building saying, "It's the Silicon Valley Impact podcast happening now." You know,
I like that.
you could do these things. They can say anything. So yeah, community building. You can share these things with your friends and say, let's meet in the park. Here's where we're going to meet. That sort of thing.
I love that. And of course, this is all virtual, and you're holding up your phone, looking around to see where this is. Okay, that's amazing. And now you've been working on this for a few years now. Curious to hear how that's rolling out, so we'll dive into that.
Yeah.
But what I really love about all of you is that you have this capacity.
Brian, I got to interrupt you for a second.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Can you hold that train of thought? You have this capacity?
Yeah.
Chen, you're fussing with those headphones like they're driving you bananas. Take them off. Take them off. I just want to relieve you of that burden.
Okay, finally.
She's over there having a wardrobe thing going on. I just can't watch it anymore.
No, I'm jealous.
It's because of the
Yeah, just take it off. You're only going to miss a couple of things. You'll be fine. Brian, continue, please.
All right, everyone good? Anyone want to take their shoes off? Anything like that?
I won't take my hats off.
I just got to get my sleeping bag rolled out.
All right, love it. Okay, and again, we're doing this live. We're doing this in one take, people.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll with it. So, Aytakin, I want to kind of come to you. You've done such a great work in terms of building a community. Talk a little bit, because we have 3 immigrants here. Talk really about what you were identifying when this idea came up for you. Where was the need? Where was the pain point coming from? Because as a startup, Randy, and then of course, Iryna, as you know, we're in this because there's a problem in the world, and now we kind of look to solve it. What did you see was really needed in your space that you said, I can rally around this and provide help? Yeah.
Thank you for the question. First of all, I will need to tell my story. I started from low level as an immigrant woman that later motivated me to build a community. So I came to America to study social media marketing, and I studied in Tennessee and came to San Francisco to do my internship. I was an exchange student, I got stipend, etc. Life was beautiful. But when I was in a job market, everything shifted 100% for me. I started to experience challenges of being an immigrant, not having a network and resources, just for basic things to ask for advice, how to sell your skills in the interview, because back in my country, you cannot praise yourself. People will not accept it well. But here, it's you sell your skills, it's accepted well, right? So many cultural differences I experienced. And my husband also is an immigrant. So we both were in a job market, but we couldn't land any job, unfortunately. And we had only $300 left in our pocket.
And this is still why you were in Tennessee, is that correct?
No, we were in San Francisco.
You were in San Francisco.
So he came he studied in London for 5 years. He came to do his internship also in San Francisco. So, and when you come from developing country, you cannot ask your parents to send money to America. Usually it's opposite. People in America send to developing countries. So we didn't want to ask our parents to help us. And for us, the goal, there are only two options: either we make it or make it. No third option for us. And then I told my husband, you know what we can do? Let's go to San Francisco Public Library. And we had only $300 left in our pocket. And print our resumes for free, and then walk door to door to restaurants asking them to hire us as a waiter and server. We didn't have a luxury to wait somebody 2 weeks to review application and reject or just shadow, etc. So anytime I go to San Francisco to that exact street, I cry. Even it happened 15 years ago.
It brings it back. It's
it
like,
brings
because
my emotions back. How we struggled
anybody
at the
in
time.
food service knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, I am sure about that.
Yeah.
So we knocked many doors. We went to In-N-Out in Pierre. They said, oh, submit online. And then to many stores. But after 2 days of walking to many restaurants, finally one of the Persian restaurants, they gave opportunity to my husband as a waiter. So, but I kept being rejected. I asked for babysitter job, for daycare, for elder care. I couldn't drive at the time. Didn't have a car. Most of the, let's say, private type of businesses, daycare, etc., they asked me for a driver license, for a car, and they were refusing me.
yeah.
And then with having successful career back in my country, I worked at oil companies, U.S. embassy programs, and here I felt that I am not needed in the community or in the country. I became a housewife of 2 kids, and then
So
after,
you were, just to kind of like condense it. So you were in this frustrating spot where you were just like up against the wall. You
Yes.
didn't have the driver's license. You didn't have any of these other things.
any mentor, any supporter. Yeah.
And your husband landed a role, and so you were kind of left to take care of the kids.
Yes. And I tell you, I still remember we were at the bus station working for a bus. And then my husband gets a call and the Persian restaurant says, yes, we want to give you a chance. And when he tells me, I yelled from happiness like he got a job offer from White House.
Well, that's an elating feeling, right? That's a long time
because
coming.
if you knew that this is the last couple of dollars we have left in our pocket. We cannot pay for rent. We cannot pay for food.
And that's scary.
That was very scary for us. We were eating for
Terrifying.
the last probably week only rice and turkey because that was the cheapest food we could afford. And then, so when somebody said yes to him, we were like, okay, now we can survive. Now we can pay for rent and buy better food for us. And because he's such an extrovert person and he provided really great customer support at the restaurant, he was always getting great tips. And that's how we survived. His tips helped us. So we started to pay for our rent. We saved money. We bought our first car, etc. So I still have that purse, purple color, that I was putting all cash money, writing where we should pay, how much we pay. I keep it till now, so as a memory from those days. So long story short, after second baby, I was happy as a mom, but I was depressed as a woman because I thought that all the education I invested to myself, the experience I gained, it's going for a waste. I am not needed here. So I started to apply to low-level jobs again after like a gap in my resume.
So the grind continued for you, and you had you essentially, I mean, eventually you landed on your feet because, I mean, look at the way you're dressed today. But you know, what I'm hearing is, as I'm listening to you tell the story, is how many more others are experiencing this frustration that didn't have to. And it sounds to me, I mean, because you're such great with your community now, this idea that there are others, you kind of rallied those others who felt alone, who felt they were in a situation where they had no resources.
Yeah.
And you know, actually, I'm a good case study for an organization that helps immigrants, because I remember 10 years ago when I arrived in San Francisco, there was one organization that was called Upwardly Global.
Yes, I know them now.
And
yes,
I'm so thankful to them because they were the ones who helped me review my resume, you know, kind of filter
yes, they are
it
doing a great job.
to fit the US market.
When I went to New York, I met with their CEO to express my gratitude as an immigrant. I said, I appreciate you so much.
Oh, so you
because
worked with
helped me."
them?
No, I didn't work, but
Okay.
I know them.
Yeah, you know that.
Because
okay.
they are, now I know about them.
Yeah.
Right. And then so back to my story, when I went back to the job market, I continued applying to low-level jobs because I lost all my confidence. I thought that I am not eligible to apply to the jobs on social media marketing, but there was a lawyer who kind of shaked me, and he refused me, he rejected me, but he said that, I'm making it short, he said that I am rejecting you not because you are not skilled for the receptionist role, I am rejecting you because I don't want you to serve tea at my office. You came all the way from a different country to study social media. I don't want you to waste your talent. You just need to reevaluate your skill set.
So you needed somebody to challenge you. So someone
I
came.
needed somebody
yeah.
to tell me, yes, you can do
But
it.
it sounds like you had this incredible resilience to not only come, to this country, come to San Francisco, be down to your last dollar. And I think a lot, not only immigrants, but some founders know what it's like to be down to the last dollar and then just keep asking. And then somebody shows up.
Yes, that's true.
And they don't necessarily give you the thing that you need, but they give you some insight that shifts the way that you think.
Yes.
And so again, I want to make sure we're bouncing around here. So Iryna, you said you kind of experienced the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So first of all, it's not a secret that people with 2 master's degrees end up working as Uber drivers, as immigrants. And yes, I think I was just resourceful enough to Google that organization, which is called Upwardly Global. I had a great experience back in Ukraine, where I'm from. I had a great resume working for multinational corporations and corporate procurement for multiple years. My English was pretty good. And I couldn't find a job first when I started applying. And who could have known that, it's just cultural difference, the way you have your resume. For example, in Europe, you are supposed to have your photo.
Yes, it's the same number
And
country.
here it's almost like, discrimination if you have a photo. I applied, and they helped me with my resume. And I remember there was a great event. There were some executives from Apple, all those big companies in Silicon Valley, and they would you would sit down next to each of them, and they would talk to you about your experience and then help you draft your resume the way it should be. And oh my gosh, literally 2 weeks after that event, I landed my first job in the United States.
So I'm hearing 2 things from both your stories, and this applies also to startups, is 2 things primarily matter is relationships and resources. And your capacity to not only take those those relationships and get insight on how to get to those resources as opposed to just having them give to you. And both of you, it sounds like, Randy, you're on your 5th company, so I'm sure, but there's hustle.
Yeah.
It's it's not going to be given to you. It hurt. I'm assuming it hurt, just like every startup or immigrant. It hurts. It's frustrated. You feel like you're up against it. But it sounded like it never at any point did you expect a handout. You just kept going to the next location, asking the next question.
So I don't know, before I landed my first job, I probably applied to, 300 companies.
You didn't stop. Where does that come from? Okay. Where does that come from?
I'm Ukrainian.
Yeah. Where's that? Because Randy, you have this too, and I want you to chime in on this. Where does this resilience come from? Where a lot of things that I've heard in the past, and from other investors, is one thing that they really want to see in their founders is some sort of experience that forced them to become resilient. It's almost like, do you have a traumatic experience, or do you have some sort of adversity? Do you have something in your life that shaped you to be a success now? And so I'm wondering, not to go too deep into personal stories here, but where do you feel that this came for you? Iryna, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to come to you, and then Randy, I'm going to come to you on this one. But where does this grit and this resilience come from?
Well, for me, the answer is short. I'm Ukrainian. We are very resilient, as you can tell. I remember that it was rather challenging, but I never take no for an answer. I remember the first job that, I received a pretty good role. It was director of procurement for the chemical company. And their requirements were an MBA and 10 years of work experience for the chemical company. I didn't have an MBA, but I had 2 master's degrees. So I was like, well, okay, it's kind of almost close. And about 10 years working for the chemical company, I knew only that I hated chemistry back at school. But again, it didn't stop me. I applied and I worked for that company for 10 years.
I love it. Yeah, I love that you don't take no for an answer. So again, Aytakin, where does this come from with you? Was there? So I'm a second generation entrepreneur. I saw the grind growing up. Where did it come for you in terms of coming to the U.S., coming to the Bay Area? If we can just kind of like share that quality with others so that they can cultivate it, where do you think that would come from?
I think from my childhood experience and parents, because when I was a child, I experienced war, I experienced US collapse, when everything was shut down, no electricity, no water, no food. And I saw how my parents, especially my mom, she passed away, both of my parents, unfortunately, but how she was resilient. Like during the US collapse, because all the factories closed, my father used to had a good job. He saved money in our bank accounts, but because the money changed, we lost all of our money. So in a couple of days, we became very poor with nothing. Only luckily we had a home.
And what did you see in them during those times that stuck with you? Because those are defining moments.
Yes, I remember that my father always was, so we are 4 daughters in a family. My father, I'm coming from a southern part of Azerbaijan, which is border on Iran. And the culture really affects, in the city where I was born, girls were expected to get married at early age. Like woman leadership was not accepted at all. But my father was against the community. He was always telling, if you have a son and a daughter, you have to educate your daughter first, so she's not depending on anyone else.
Interesting. So you got that. You got that education.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
And my father was the person who was at that time, like because of post-Soviet Union strategy, people were listening to BBC and all foreign channels in a secret. He was listening to those channels in the radio. And anytime he heard about any program to study in America or in the UK, he was telling us to apply and go study abroad. Despite all our uncles and relatives, you are sending a girl abroad, nobody will marry them, blah, 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 all this type of
So continuous
things.
education, continuously challenging you. Sounds like a good man. Sounds like you had a good man.
I am appreciative for all my parents for where I am today.
I love that. And Randy, I want to fold you into this. I mean, these are remarkable stories. Again, because I've heard routinely, from people in the show that, these types of backgrounds create great people, and great people create great businesses. You've dived. Am I saying it right? I mean,
I think it's divin, Brian.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. Sounds like I need more education. All right.
No, you talk good.
I say good words. Randy, this is your 5th company. You've learned a ton. Here I go. You've learned a ton.
Do you want me to ask the question, Brian?
What?
Do you want me to ask the question?
Take over, Brian. I clearly can't do this on my
I already
own.
know the question. Just let me dive
I know.
in.
Yeah, we all know where you're going.
Randy, go.
So, listen, first of all, I mean, growing up around war and, I don't have a comparable story. I know that male privilege and white privilege are real things, so I feel that. But I did grow up poor. I grew up on a family farm in Canada. We had a huge garden. We had to weed it, and because that's the food we ate. And, we had cows and everything. And my mom sewed our clothes for school. I remember being really proud because she let us pick out the material. And then I went to school with these homemade clothes and got made fun of, And I'm like, what do you mean? My mom made these. It's really cool, So that's...
Which, by the way, it really was, in my opinion.
Yeah, no kidding. So that was the world I grew up in. And I think, first of all, taught me hard work. Like, I was working on the farm and doing farming things as I grew up. And then I also worked on construction with my dad after that. So I really learned how to work hard. There was no savings account for education or anything like that. I had 5 siblings. So I brought myself to school. I paid for it all myself. And I think that drive is what has caused me to just keep going and doing the insanity of 5 companies. But what drives me to do those is not thinking, hey, I want to do another company. That was fun. It's sort of like memory gets forgotten how hard it was because there's this new opportunity. It's a really cool thing, and it's a chance to make a dent in the world. And that's what compels me. It's like I can't not do that thing that is some new, really cool thing that I think will really help the world. So that's what got me in 5 companies.
And growing up in, any of these circumstances, it sounds like you had to be innovative with the things you had. You had to look around. You had to look around and say, what do we have? We're down to our last, a couple $100. We're, there's weeds in the garden, but we can't buy a new tool. There's just so many opportunities to be innovative when you don't have. And it sounds like that seems to be a common thread now as you get older. Is it's like, where can I solve the next problem with what's not there? Is that kind of, when you hit your first company, what were you thinking in terms of solving a particular problem?
Well, my very first company was out of university. I took electrical engineering, and I had a friend who had broke his neck in a gymnastics accident. He was paralyzed from the chin down. And he couldn't even communicate. He couldn't speak. And in third year engineering, you had to build a project. And you could choose 2 of the options that the professor gave, or you could make up your own thing. And so I saw that and thought, I could make something that could help him. And it ended up being a full-on 2-year project. They gave me space in the grad lab as an undergrad. I won a bunch of engineering competitions, and I started a company as a result. So that was just about helping my friend. And what I did was built a very simple thing he would touch with his lip, and he could create words. So he could type through scanning through letters. And once we got it all working, one of the first things he typed was, who are you going to help next? This was a student project. I thought, this is going to look great on a resume. I won some awards. This has been fun. But that question from him, he was thinking beyond himself and could see this technology could really benefit a lot of people with challenges. And that question turned my career in a completely new direction. I started a company and for 20 years built assistive technology.
Oh my God. Okay. What I just heard is parallels what you shared at the 10 is someone said something to you that had you thinking outside your normal train of thought, and you say to yourself, wow, well, what if? And it kind of sends you outside the comfort zone of your normal train of thought. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. And for someone like him, who was as disabled as you could get, but he was thinking about others. He was such a great guy. He wrote a book. So yeah, he jarred me out of this, self worship that I was in as a student, thinking, hey, I did this great thing.
We had a student mindset in that alone. Like you didn't know what was outside the scope of academia, which was amazing. I want to ask the same question to Iryna, and then we'll go to break. So same situation with you, Iryna. Was there a point where you said, wow, what if I could do this next thing? I could start a magazine. I could do investments. Was there that moment?
I think also, kind of leaning into our previous conversation, is that a lot of those things are self-esteem, right? So when you are coming from a developing country and then you are in the environment of this, United States, you have never seen certain things in your life before, you want it or not, your self-esteem is going to be affected, right? And when you receive those no's, when you're applying for jobs, right, your self-esteem is affected. So I think it is incredibly important for all the entrepreneurs, right, startup founders out there, is to work on their self-esteem first. There are certain things that you can do to improve, support yourself. in that environment. So yeah, for me, I was rather happy to have the corporate job. I spent 20 years in the corporate procurement. But I always had a passion. I have always been a very creative person. I grew up in a family of architects. I'm very visual, always had interest in fashion. So for me, it was more like a natural switch into editorial life, into becoming an editor-in-chief. I just decided to follow my passion. And, within just a couple of years, it has become my job, primary job. Yes.
I love it. All right, Brian, so let's go to break. And when we come back, we're now going to dive into what you're all working on now, how we can take some of those lessons and share them with our audience and provide a little insight for them. But Brian, take us to break. All right, we're back, and just like what usually happens when the when the mics go off, everybody relaxes and starts telling stories. But Brian, you asked a great question during the break to Randy, or you made a great point about the typing.
About swipe.
So
we turned the cameras off, and I've got Randy here, who I had no idea was the guy who invented swipe and brought it to market. And I have a bunch of friends who, we were all Android users, and swipe was a big deal, right? All you Apple people, I'm sorry, there are other keyboards and other phones out there that actually work.
What are you saying?
I know. It's a heartbreaking
I have
reality.
A story about that too.
So I asked Randy, what prompted swipe? Because for my brain, it didn't work. I tried and tried and tried, and I had really, really intelligent, nerdy friends who just swore by it, and I wanted to be nerdy and intelligent, but I couldn't get that keyboard. So I asked Randy, what prompted you to create that?
Yeah, let's be honest, Brian. You said I hated it. That was how that conversation started.
He's playing nice.
But I hated it because it made me feel like I couldn't get something that my smart friends could get.
Yeah,
and again, and part of this I have to say was also predicated on the fact that I'm high level ADHD. Right, and you said you created it for somebody with disabilities, which I sort of semi fit into that category.
Yeah, it was originally made for people who are quadriplegic who were moving their head. We had a head tracking camera, and they could move the cursor on a computer. This is before smartphones. And we made a puff tube, and so they would move the cursor over an on-screen keyboard, puff on each letter one at a time, and they could type at the most 10 words a minute. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's just too slow. If they didn't have to stop and puff on every letter, that would be much faster. What if they could just draw a path through the letters with their head? And they went from 10 words a minute to 40, 50 words a minute. So that suddenly leveled the playing ground. And then smartphones came along, and suddenly none of us had keyboards anymore. We took away the hardware keyboard. Now we all have a disability because we can't type on a keyboard with our fingers. And so we transferred that technology over to smartphones. And like you say, Android picked it up, and swipe was only on Android, not on iOS. But the job I got at Apple, so here's the rest of the story you probably don't know, Brian, is I went to Apple and I got put in charge of the on-screen keyboard. And I knew how much I loved swipe. Like, I like going 50 words a minute on my phone. And I wanted to use it on my iPhone. My boss said, no, Randy, thanks to you, it's been on Android for like 5 years. We'll look like we're really behind, don't do it. But I wanted it for myself. And so I grabbed an engineer. He had about a month of break in a project. And I said, hey, we're going to, between you and me, we're going to do this thing. And so I made a prototype of it on the iOS keyboard. And I took it to my boss. I said, hey, I got something to show you. And he's like, is this the thing I told you not to do? And I said, yeah, but you got to try it. And Apple is all about demo culture. It's like show, don't tell. If I had taken a PowerPoint in there, I would not have won the day. But he tried it, and it was actually the first time he'd actually done swipe. And he's like, wow, this is really cool. How long did it take you? How soon can we ship it? Mm-hmm. And it actually did ship a year later, and was one of the top 5 features. So you can do this on your iPhone. Most people don't know it. But if you just bring up the regular system keyboard and slide your finger across the letters, you'll see.
Mm-hmm. Swipe is native.
It's native.
Oh, interesting.
Most people don't know that, but that's because I didn't listen to my boss.
So that's an incredible story. I love it.
That's how
Right.
It's a
things
great
happen,
story.
right?
And that's our show. Don't listen to anybody. Do what you think is right. All right, we're here to change the world.
Randy.
To my boss's credit, he later said, thank God you didn't listen to me. I use this every day. Thanks for doing it. So I didn't get fired, and thanks for that, Toby.
Is you gonna listen to this podcast?
Yeah, he just called him out by name. So Toby, if you're listening, thanks for the challenge. How can I
Thanks for
impact
saying
the
no at
world
first,
with this?
right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what triggered him. Sometimes when you are rejected, you get triggered. Like Iryna said, no means okay. I'm gonna keep going.
I love that.
But I think the same approach actually applies to being an investor, right? So when you are being an investor, you decide which companies to invest into. And currently, right, we have two types of services, like physical or digital, and the same channels of their distribution, digital or physical. And being an investor, you actually, have to kind of brainstorm what, is it going to be like AI type of services, or what type of channels of distribution we will have in 5 years. Maybe AI will be, another type of like flip phone in 5 years, right, that no one wants to look at.
So I want to ask you a little about getting into the VC space, but there's a correlation, which you said earlier before the break, about self-esteem. Randy, you had you identified, if you think of the word esteem, it's value, right? You had an extreme connection to the value that you were bringing, and you executed, and you overcame the no. You overcame the rejection. And I think there's a common theme here with Aytakin, Iryna, and all of you. It's regardless of the rejection that surrounds us in life that we encounter, the esteem that you were saying before, there's the awareness of this value that we keep being put forward, and we find a way. And I really think that's the common denominator of a lot of founders. Is there's the norm, there's a barrier. We've only gone this far with innovation or possibility or mindset, whatever you want to call it. And we push beyond because we have this passion, this value for a greater future. And so I just wanted to draw that correlation because you've pivoted now, Iryna, into the VC space. Where did you see your value in launching a magazine and then going into investments? Like, what was that leap?
I love that question because that was actually being editor-in-chief of the magazine made me, go into the VC world. I used my, being an editor-in-chief of the lifestyle magazine gets you into rooms which are really hard to get into, right? So I do a lot of media coverage for different events, which is great for them, and access to an amazing network for me. So that was exactly the case that I have first built such an amazing network within such a short period of time for myself. And, just being presentable person in a room, I always get approached by people asking me like, oh, are you an investor? People start pitching to me without even, knowing who I am. So at some point I decided, yes, why not? Actually, it feels like I have the network. So why don't I just educate myself and go that route.
Yeah, you love the game. Now it's figuring out, okay, how do the pieces move in order to effectively execute?
Yes, but also a great question, which was one of the first questions that I asked at the Venture University, is how do you deliver your value to all those LPs, right? Those people who are supposed to invest into your emerging fund that they have never heard of, and again, going back into self-esteem, some beginning general partners, they start decreasing their management fee and stuff like that. But I think that it's very important to show that your portfolio is really valuable to those potential investors and that you really deserve to be paid. No one wants a GP of a fund to run on Doshirak and, work a second job at McDonald's, right? Then they will not have time to manage your portfolio, investment portfolio. So yes, you know, it's again about self-esteem and proving your value.
I love that. So Aytakin, I want to kind of bring this now into your network.
Yes.
You're sharing this journey, kind of like we've been talking about today, understanding the value that people bring into an ecosystem. How do you teach this, or how do you share this and inspire this with a group so they are now motivated? Much like the attorney you came across, you're in a different capacity, but in a different voice, but same spirit. You're challenging your ecosystem to identify their value. How do you do that? I mean, you're building such a great community. Give us some insight, because I think whether you're a startup, you're a VC, whatever you're creating, community matters.
Yes, and community is important.
Yeah.
For me, I always take it to a personal level. For example, when I do events, myself as a speaker, I always provide a back-end support. Nobody sees it. I just jump on and say, hey, I see something is missing. I reach out, I advise, I recommend. The same when I did event for founders to pitch. And like, we know, like many of the immigrants, it is so hard to present your ideas publicly. Number one, English is not your first language. Number two, maybe it's the first time you pitch your idea, you become stressed, VCs there, etc. So for me, it wasn't like doing only hosting events and having founders to pitch, but without any charging, I just jumped on a one-on-one call to all these founders and I helped them to pitch. I'm like, okay, do it, I will help you. So I take it to personal level to the community members. Anybody needs help, or I don't know how to write on social media, please help me, without charging.
That sounds like the brand part, though. It's like naturally folds into what you're doing with the brand.
Yes.
It's like it's one thing for anybody to say, I need funding, and then put them in front of somebody, and pitch. But what you're saying is, the individual matters. How you represent yourself matters. How that self-esteem, how that sense of confidence comes out matters. And you empathetically have identified that as being important. And that extra mile is what has really brought a lot of people to you to say, hey, help me. I don't know how to express my sense of value. Am I framing that right?
That's correct. Like there was one time, I host a podcast. I didn't say it, but Verso Talk with Aytakin. There was one VC investor, and one of the community members, she watched that interview. She asked me to introduce her with that VC. And I connected them on LinkedIn. And what founder did, she's an immigrant. She just wrote one sentence about her company, that's it. And then when I saw her at the event next time, I said, are you open for a friendly recommendation how to build a relationship with investors? She said, oh yeah, please tell me. I said, if I were you, somebody introduced me to the investor, I wouldn't approach to the investors this way. I would do XYZ. For example, I would say, hey, I watched your video, I listened to your podcast, so much fun, I learned a lot. So you build relationship just before going right away to your company.
So that, those of you in the fundraising universe, build the relationship by taking an interest, because if you're on the founder side, you have the capacity to reject just as much as the investor has the capacity to reject. You want that value connection. Yeah. So look for the value in others. Look for what they have. You can learn from them. Look how you can share stories. And I mean, kind of like we did the first 40 minutes of the show, we shared stories. I love that. That's great insight. No wonder, again, if you're out there listening and want to build your brand, get a hold of Aytakin and talk about the brand.
I think we should also just offer to, we'll put a link in the bio to her podcast as well, yeah?
Yeah,
awesome.
And website as well. You have a website? You have a website?
Yes, I do.
What's the name of the website?
Femigrants.com. Not personal website. I have Femigrants website.
I love it. And then we'll talk a little bit about the events you have coming up. But before we start to wind down time, I got to ask all of you two questions.
Sure.
Randy, I'll start with you. And this is for all of you.
Of course.
I want to know what you're working on now, and what is it that you love about what you're working on?
Yeah. So Skidattl is pretty cool. And this idea came out of the pandemic pretty much, when we were all supposed to stay in our houses and isolate. And my son ended up being on his computer screen all day. And, I'd say, hey, why don't you take the dog for a walk? And he said, yeah, but then I'd have to leave the house, And I said, okay, this is a problem, right? And so we started brainstorming, how would you be encouraged to get back outside? And the mental and physical benefits of just getting outside, getting outdoors, interacting with nature, interacting with people have been just proven over and over. So it was just a hypothetical question. It's like, well, tech is keeping you on your computer, but how could we use tech to take you outside? And we came up with this idea of, well, we could create these virtual beacons that would draw you outside, a lot like Pokemon Go did, only allow anybody to make these, and you could make them for your friends and families. Businesses could make them for things like theme parks that show you what the wait times are for all the rides, or music festivals showing you who's playing on the stage right now, even what song is playing. So there's just all this real world information, and we conceived of this coming out of the pandemic as everybody started getting back into the real world. And now spatial computing is becoming a thing, and you couple AI with this and then add in AR glasses, and it's just going to change our world, our real world, the way we interact with it. We're going to be so much more knowledgeable about things that are around us. And it's basically like we're hyperlinking the real world. So it's a very simple thing. We're making virtual signs you see through your phone, but that's the precursor to what's coming, and eventually we'll all be using in a spatial computing world.
And so is everybody going to be walking around with those with glasses on? I mean, is that your prediction?
I think instead of walking around with our phone like this, yeah. There was a time when smartphones came out and we were like, look how ridiculous that is. Somebody's like holding their phone up. And then now it's just become commonplace. And yeah, I think ambient computing, spatial computing, glasses, audio, haptics that you feel in your body, these are other ways we can interface with technology. Besides the phone, we're going to look back on that one day and look at it like we look at pagers now and say, that was really helpful, but I can't believe I walked around with that all the time in my hand.
Interesting. And you're loving what you're doing because, again, this is your fifth company.
Yeah, I think this is solving a new problem. I mean, I was at Apple, and even Apple recognized we spend so much time on our screens. Everything is just sucks you in, and you get into the scrolling, doom scrolling, and you're missing what's going on around you in the real world. So I think it's getting us back into the world that we all used to enjoy before technology pulled us out of it.
Yeah.
I want to add something. Like we grew up in a culture where until the weather got dark, we played around with kids, with toys. But now the society has changed so much. I cannot let my daughters to play outside without adult supervision. And number one issue. Number two, because everybody is so attached to screens, it's a challenge to take them out. So I am excited for your projects. Maybe it will help us to change the lifestyle of kids, next generation.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's what I think you and I connected, because I think there's something there with engagement, right? It's one thing to be, in your bedroom as a child or even adult, engaged with the computer and just stuck. But to go out in the world and to use that technology to get people to reconnect, because you said this idea came about through COVID, but now to reconnect, to engage with small businesses, to engage with other communities.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a beacon, you're looking through your phone and a beacon goes up over an event center and there's a Femigrant event going on, right? It's like, I want to join that.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
My son was into Pokemon Go, and there was this church a block from our house, and at 9 o'clock one night he said, Dad, someone's put a lure module on the church parking lot, which means it will lure Pokemon there. And so can we go? And so I went with him. And in 5 minutes, the parking lot of this church filled up with cars. There was like 30 or 40 people on the front lawn catching Pokemon, all talking to each other. And they were not kids. These were like 30-year-olds. And I looked around going, what is going on? And all of a sudden, there's this hissing sound. Psst. And I was like, what is that? And all of a sudden, the sprinklers turned on the lawn. Everybody got wet. They all ran to their cars.
I love it.
And they went back to their lives. And I just looked at that and said, what just happened?
Awesome. You have to show me how to do that.
Can I ask a question about the beacons? Are these going to be of all different sizes and proportions and importance? I mean, and who places them and how do they get to where they are? Like, what's the system of organization?
Yeah, thanks. It's a SaaS. Anybody can do it. You go to skidattl.com, and that's spelled Skidattl.com. Skidattl Saddles had the correct spelling. So you go there, and there's a free test drive. And just through this website, you can place beacons on a map. And you can say what you want it to look like. There's different shapes, different sizes. You can have pictures, icons. They can be animated. So anybody can make these. It's like a Facebook post. And then you launch it with a QR code. So you can send this to, I can put a beacon outside your house, Brian, and send you a QR code. You just scan that on your phone, and there it is outside your house, and it's my nice little message for you saying happy birthday or something like that.
And that message for him is something he'll be able to see currently on the screen of his phone that's like a physical presence, like an augmented reality presence that says happy birthday in the parking lot of his building.
Yeah, it's this real sign sitting there spinning around that you see. In fact, they're a little bit hard to tell from real life. Sometimes I have to tell people, no, it's that thing. It's not actually a sign. It's this virtual sign.
Can you send characters? Could I send Wonder Woman to Brian's house to wish him a happy birthday?
Let's talk to her. I'm good friends. Yeah.
I love that. I'm definitely going to be picking your brain after the show to see how we can use that over at Stack Ventures in Oakland, because we're doing a lot of events over there.
Oh, yeah.
I love that venue.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah,
Very
definitely want to talk about. So Iryna, I'm going to pivot to you. What are you working on? We already kind of teased it already a little bit, but what is it about this ecosystem, what you're working on that you love?
So I'm working on my fund one, raising my fund one for MachX VC. And I think what I really love about it, for the past week, I've been meeting about 6 startups a day, just like half an hour each. Mm-hmm. And I have been fascinated with missions of those people. When you meet people who are building something in the space, or they 3D print human skin and stuff like that, something that will significantly improve our life, save lives, just missions are something that you have never heard before. Mm-hmm. I really love this intellectual compound being exposed to this world. And I almost after this startup madness, we call it startup madness at the Venture University, I felt that returning to day-to-day activities, something that was extremely important for me before, do an Instagram post of my food. It just feels so, how did I even spend time on something like that?
Yeah, you've had a paradigm shift.
Yes.
And so how has the challenge of raising as a VC, because we often don't unpack that for our audience. We're always talking about the startup who has to raise and their challenges. But even as a VC, you go through the same growing pains. Mm-hmm. How has that experience been for you, putting yourself out there, saying, hey, fund one, this is what we're doing? How has that experience been for you?
Interestingly, I actually feel that finding the right startups is harder for me than raising money, because I feel that as soon as you have this striking portfolio of companies, if you really look into something and you feel like, oh my God, I really believe in it, I feel this will be 100x return. Mm-hmm. Who in the world would not want to invest, if they have money to invest? So for me, that was the route. And I really tried to first, hook my LPs and investors through my amazing portfolio that I have built, and, being extremely selective. Look at 3,000 companies and select 10 and, kind of share that, I looked at. I
love it. It's the entrepreneurs that drive it. Can I be your 7th company today? We'll talk after.
So for Randy and the rest of our founders out there listening, every VC has their own strategy. But for you, if someone was pitching to you, what are those top of mind things that you look for in a fundable company?
Well, I think first of all, the solution matters, right? So something that truly, is not just like looping into the same environment, like, we're not like optimizing something, but making a breakthrough in the industry. So I think it is important in things that I focus on, because I'm looking for really high VC returns. So that's one. Then the founder who is able to sell, because there have been so many.
Say that again for those in the back. Yeah.
So many stories, unfortunately, when you're on a Zoom call with the founder of founders, and the idea sounds amazing, but then you listen to them and you just like, this guy isn't gonna sell.
So founder fit matters. Like, is this the right individual to push this company forward? The passion behind it. Like at Venture University, we had a conversation with one of the founders, and she just like showed so much passion about what she does. And then she also went like, oh, guys, I want to show you my office, like my factory. We just built it ourselves. And I just wanted to show you, like, I was installing things here and there. And, she just took like the camera. Like an ADU unit? She like threw it up in the backyard? Like what do you mean she made it herself?
No, they had some office, but, they were putting some like printing machines there. So she actually, helped herself.
Some ingenuity involved, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just some hands-on approach when you see this passion, not just someone who raised money and, sitting and spending it.
So passion, founder fit, and a solution that matters.
Probably grit, right? Grit.
Oh,
matters.
grit, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Aytakin, I got to ask you the same thing. What are you currently working on? I see you doing dinners. I see you doing brunches. Yes. I see you doing a lot of things. What are you working on? And if it needs describing, the love you have of what you're doing.
Thank you so much. So I can proudly say that this is the most busiest summer in my life. Mm-hmm. Last year, this time I was traveling Europe. This time, no breaks, because I used to help immigrants for free on their personal branding. And then again, there was someone like, you are helping so much, why not to do a business out of it?
Right.
So I launched my personal branding consultation recently, and I have summer meetups. During summer, we pause all the speaking engagement. People are traveling, so chilling time, but we keep the community active. I invite them. During summer, we call it Summer Business Club, where I find nice and elegant places at the hotel, coffee shops or restaurants. I bring people together there. We do like mastermind. Everybody gets a chance to talk, to build connections, network. I moderate the entire mastermind speaking session part. Besides that, this is summer business clubs. Besides that, I am working on my 2 upcoming workshops, one online, one in person on personal branding. And then I am relaunching my podcast, because I am changing the format. Mm-hmm. A little bit hint, now it will be similar to you. 2 people will be moderating.
Gotta have that energy in the room, yeah.
I loved your energy, so you were the motivation for me. So I offered this person to work together even before I launched. Mm-hmm. At that time, he's an immigrant, by the way, from France. And at that time, timeline didn't work for him. But now we are working together to relaunch it together. This is another project. Then
is it still going to be called? Is it still called
Verso Talk with Aytakin? He's okay to keep it, but maybe we will just do Verso Talk.
I got to ask. I got a suggestion based on our success here. Find somebody else named Aytakin. Right? I think if that's the way to go, then you don't have to change the name. And
brilliant, Brian.
Everybody who walks into the studio only has to learn one name.
You are very kind.
It seems to work out really well for us.
Yeah, steal that one. Yeah, you can steal that one.
You are very kind. I love your humor, sense of humor. Yes, the name probably will remain. He's okay with it. Now we are at the ideation stage.
The name means what?
The name. Yeah, back to your question. Verso means unhidden, untold, and the other meaning is opposite side.
Opposite
So
side,
with
okay.
Verso, I want to reveal the untold stories of immigrants. And the speakers of the podcast are investors. We don't only talk about the money, fundraising, but we also reveal their personal story. What motivated them to become investors? What challenges they faced? I also invite founders who raised minimum $2-3 million,
Yeah.
because that is where you really see the grit of the founder to take the company to the next level.
I love it. Personal stories mean so much. So I'm so
Yes.
glad that you are focusing on that. There's not enough voices out there amplifying these stories where it really brings us back together. If I can hear your story, see myself in your story, see myself in your success, chances are we can motivate each other to do better. We're getting ready to wind down. I definitely want to make sure we let our audience know how they can connect with you. So what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Before answering to this question, I'm going to tell one more important program.
Okay.
It's coming soon, launching. This is a huge program. It will be for global immigrants.
Nice.
I cannot reveal all the secrets, but what I'm going to tell, this program will help to acknowledge all immigrants around the world. So immigrants, they will be able to go through the process that they will be acknowledged and valued and recognized globally.
I love
So
that.
maybe you can guess later what it is. I can tell you one-on-one, but publicly later.
Big T's here on Silicon Valley
Yes.
Impact. I love it. And how can people learn more or stay up to date on what's
Yes.
coming? How can they connect
So
with you?
follow me on LinkedIn. I am very active on LinkedIn. I'm very active on Instagram, but LinkedIn DM
You do
works much
Instagram
more
too?
better. On Instagram, I
Brian,
don't
we
do
got to do
personal.
Instagram a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to
So-
do everything a little bit more.
Yeah, she's got it down. We got branding. You can help us
She's
with our
running
brand.
circles around us,
I
really.
know, yeah.
I got
Here,
15
take
million.
my seat here.
My Instagram for the last 2 months, it got 15 million views. And I don't invest too much time that I invest on LinkedIn.
Brian, we're not doing it. We got to do Instagram. We got to figure this stuff out. We got to
I can
figure our
help you with
stuff out.
We
personal
need better
branding on
hats.
LinkedIn.
We need more hats.
Yes, black and white hats.
It's all in the hats. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, you keep showing up in your soccer uniform. I'm not sure we're going to think where you're going to go.
I'm ready for a game. All right, game on.
Silicon Valley style.
Yes, exactly. Iryna, how can people connect with you?
LinkedIn, Instagram, for any marketing needs, media coverage by my Red Hot Mond magazine, you can email to pr@redhotmond.com or just hit me up on it.
So I got to ask, so you're still driving the magazine?
Yes.
And the name of the magazine?
Red Hot Mond.
Mond.
Yeah, it's a play on word, red hot, and haute monde in French is high society. So it's a red hot high society.
And what is kind of the focus of the magazine?
Media coverage, we have 4 compounds. We have print, digital, website, and newsletter.
But the stories, I'm not talking about like what kind of stories do you, it's fashion, it's
I call it a lifestyle magazine. So we
Lifestyle,
cover
okay.
events, we cover fashion, beauty, just like
nice.
quite
Okay.
glamorous.
And people can learn more about the magazine where?
on website redhotmond.com.
Okay. Love it. And are you on LinkedIn?
Yes.
All right.
Where can we see the TV show?
Well, we are currently pitching to the networks. So, we did the pilot and currently in talks with different networks to hopefully have it green.
Let us know when you need a walk
Yes.
on from Brian and Brian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd be happy to accommodate when the time is right.
Okay. Randy?
Randy at skidattl.com. I'm on LinkedIn and Skidattl's website. Of course, you can learn all about it there. Skidattl.
Skidattl. Okay. Love it. And I got to say, someone smells really good in here. I've just now, someone's got some great perfume on.
You.
Brian, is that you? Yeah, is that
Probably
me?
me.
Is it me?
That's a new one. New this morning.
All right. Well, I want to thank all our guests for being here today. Great show. Brian, thank you. Take us home.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
I really
you.
enjoyed it.
So much
Awesome.
So
fun.
much fun.
We'll see you all next week. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.